Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a skill that is absolutely critical for real-life fluency, one that surprisingly often makes even advanced English learners feel a little bit nervous. Mastering the art of ordering food and dining out in English-speaking countries. Okay, let's unpack this, because it's so much more than just knowing words. It's about navigating a universal social experience with genuine confidence.
That's precisely our mission for this deep dive. We want to equip you, our listener, with the unwavering confidence and the most natural, authentic phrases you'll need for a truly seamless and enjoyable dining experience. Think of it as your shortcut to feeling completely at ease. Whether you find yourself in a bustling, high-energy restaurant, a cozy, quiet cafe, or even just picking up a quick takeout order, this deep dive is meticulously designed to cover every single aspect. We'll be moving from the very foundational elements, like truly understanding the nuances of a menu, reading between the lines sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
To navigating those surprisingly subtle and often overlooked conversations you'll have with waitstaff. Our goal is to ensure that by the end of this, you'll have not just one, but a series of aha moments for all those common scenarios that might currently feel daunting or overwhelming. We're talking about unlocking the hidden logic behind dining etiquette, really.
I hear it all the time, that anxiety is absolutely real. It's that moment you're staring at a menu item and the description just doesn't click. Or you freeze because you're unsure of the most polite and natural way to ask for something, perhaps a modification. Or even that lingering fear of making a cultural faux pas that just hangs over you. It can completely overshadow the enjoyment of a meal. But we are here to tell you, without a doubt, by the end of this deep dive, you are going to feel so much more prepared, so much more in control. You'll be ready to savor not just the food, but the entire experience.
Indeed. By the time we're done today, you'll gain practical, actionable knowledge on how to order food, not just correctly, but truly like a native speaker, with that effortless ease that makes you feel like you belong. You'll learn how to confidently inquire about various menu items, whether it's understanding the exact ingredients, the preparation methods, or even, the portion sizes that can be tricky too.
Definitely.
Critically, you'll be prepared to comprehend what your server is asking you, no more blank stares or awkward silences. And perhaps most importantly, you'll walk away with a comprehensive toolkit of useful phrases ready for all sorts of diverse restaurant situations, from casual eateries to more formal settings. This raises an important question. How can we transform what often feels like a high-stakes, daunting experience into one of pure confidence, genuine connection, and unadulterated enjoyment? Let's truly dive deep into this.
The dining out journey. 1. Arrival and initial interactions. Setting the stage.
All right, let's begin at the very genesis of your culinary adventure. The precise moment you first step foot into a restaurant. You've just walked in, perhaps you're scanning the room for a host, looking for that podium or someone near the door.
Right, that initial contact point.
And before you even have a chance to contemplate the menu, someone, usually a host or hostess, is going to greet you. And they'll likely ask you one of a few foundational questions. They might be very direct, simply stating, "Hi, how many people?" Or, quite often, they'll make an assumption based on who they observe, perhaps, "Table for two," which, while a question implies they think there are two of you, inviting you to confirm or gracefully correct them. I've definitely been in situations where I've arrived first and my party is still coming, and that initial question can feel a bit like a pop quiz if you're not ready.
That's a fantastic point, because this is where your very first opportunity to establish a polite, confident, and smooth tone comes into play. It's like the opening line of the conversation. When you're asked about the number in your party, your response should be clear, concise, and crucially polite. For instance, if you're with another person, a simple "a table for two, please" is absolutely perfect.
Just like that.
Notice that critical word "please" at the end. It's a small word, but it carries an immense amount of social weight. It instantaneously transforms a direct statement of need into a polite request. It signals respect for the person serving you.
It really does soften it.
If you happen to be dining alone, you would respond with "just me, thank you." Or perhaps "a table for one, please." Either works perfectly well.
Okay.
Again, the please or thank you is indispensable. These seemingly brief, almost trivial exchanges right at the outset are incredibly powerful. They immediately signal respect for the staff and set a positive, collaborative atmosphere for the entire interaction.
It's like laying the groundwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being direct and polite here helps the staff quickly understand your needs, allowing them to seat you efficiently, which they genuinely appreciate, especially when it's busy. It's a small but profoundly significant step in establishing smooth, comfortable communication from the get-go. Now let's consider a couple of other scenarios that often arise during arrival. What if you have a reservation? The host might ask, "Do you have a reservation?" Or maybe checking in.
Right, you hear that sometimes.
Your confident response would be, "Yes, we have a reservation under your last name." Or simply, "Yes, reservation for your last name." You could add the time too, reservation for Smith at 7 p.m.
Good point. Adding the time helps if they have multiple Smiths.
Precisely. Or they might ask, "Under what name is the reservation?" And you just provide your last name. Being precise here is key.
Okay, so being prepared with the name and maybe the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what if you arrive early or late? This happens all the time, right? Traffic, plans change. If you're early, you might approach the host and say, "Hi, we have a reservation for 7 p.m. under Smith, but we're a little early. Is it possible to be seated now, or should we wait perhaps at the bar?"
That manages expectations nicely.
It does. It shows you understand they might be busy. If you're running late, a quick call ahead is always appreciated. Something like, "Hi, this is Sarah Smith. We had a reservation for 7 p.m., but we're running about 10 minutes late. Just wanted to let you know. Is that still okay?"
That's really considerate.
It shows courtesy and respect for the restaurant's schedule and operations. These small acts of communication reflect a deeper understanding of social dynamics. It's about being thoughtful, not just transactional. It makes everything smoother.
That makes so much sense. It really is about setting that positive tone right from the first interaction. It's like shaking someone's hand firmly. It just feels right. You start off on the right foot.
Exactly. First impressions count, even in brief encounters like this. 2. Placing your order beyond "I want."
Now, once you're comfortably seated, maybe you've got your water, you've had a moment to really peruse the menu, perhaps decided what you're craving or narrowed it down at least.
Hopefully. Sometimes it's tough.
Oh, tell me about it. And the server gracefully returns to your table, maybe with a smile, pen poised, ready to take your order. This is a common moment where English learners often, quite understandably, default to phrases like, "I want the chicken."
We hear that a lot, yeah.
And while grammatically it's perfectly understandable, everyone knows what you mean, in an English-speaking service context, it can sound quite direct, almost like a demand, or even a bit childlike, perhaps.
It can, yeah. It lacks the subtle social lubricants that native speakers instinctively use, the politeness factor.
Right. So let's truly unpack some more natural, polite, and universally accepted alternatives. These are the phrases that will make you sound not just correct, but completely fluent and at ease. We're talking about gems like, "I'll have the chicken sandwich, please," or "Can I get a large coffee?" Or perhaps, "I'd like the pasta with tomato sauce." These are your absolute go-to phrases, your power words for ordering.
Let's truly break down why these phrases are so incredibly effective and sound so natural, because each one carries its own subtle nuance and performs a specific social function. It's not just random choice. First, "I'll have." This is a contraction of "I will have," and it is exceptionally common across a wide spectrum of dining settings, from the most casual cafes, think Starbucks, to the most upscale, formal restaurants.
So it's very versatile.
Extremely versatile. It functions as a statement of a decision you've made, and it frames your choice as a polite request for the item to be brought to you. Crucially, it's not a command. It's a declaration of intent that invites the server to fulfill that intent. For example, you might confidently say, "Okay, I think I'm ready. I'll have the chef's special of the day, please." Or, "I'll start with the soup, and then I'll have the grilled salmon."
Okay, so you can use it for multiple items.
Absolutely. Or for drinks, "I'll have a glass of the house red wine to start." Or even when the dessert menu arrives, "That looks good. For dessert, I'll have the chocolate lava cake."
Mm-hmm.
It subtly communicates confidence in your choice without ever being demanding, and it's universally understood as the standard, respectful way to order.
It sounds decisive but polite.
Exactly. It conveys that you have made a selection and are now ready for the server to process it. Next, we have, "Can I get?" Now, this phrase is a slightly more informal option, but I want to stress that it is universally accepted and still incredibly polite, particularly in more casual settings like a coffee shop, a bustling deli, or a friendly diner, maybe even a fast food place.
Great, like grabbing lunch quickly.
Yeah. It's structured as an indirect request, almost as if you're asking for permission to receive the item, which inherently softens any perception of a command. Think of it as, "Is it possible for me to get..." You'll hear this very frequently for beverages or quick bites. "Can I get a refill on my iced tea, please?" Or, "Can I get a quick BLT sandwich to go?" Or, "Can I get one of those muffins?" It's conversational, it's friendly, and it blends seamlessly into everyday interactions. Less formal, but still perfectly polite.
Okay, so I'll have is maybe slightly more standard restaurant. Can I get more casual cafe or quick order?
Generally, yeah, that's a good way to think about it, although you'll hear both used quite interchangeably in many places. Can I get? Just feels a touch more informal. And finally, I'd like. This is a contraction of I would like, and it's a slightly more formal, yet equally polite option that distinctly emphasizes your desire or preference for something.
Would like definitely sounds polite.
It really does. It's incredibly versatile and suitable for almost any dining situation, from a fast food counter when you're being especially polite, to a fine dining establishment. I'd like the pan-seared salmon with asparagus and roasted potatoes, please, for example, conveys a thoughtful and considered choice.
It feels softer than I'll have.
Maybe slightly.
Hmm.
Emphasizes preference. I'll have is more of the decision. I'd like focuses on the desire. Both are excellent choices. I'd like is a very safe, elegant, and polite option to use when you're unsure which phrase fits best, or if you just naturally want to err on the side of formality.
That's a good tip. If in doubt, I'd like is probably a safe bet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, let's explicitly compare these nuanced phrases to the bluntness of I want. Imagine walking into a high-end boutique and saying to a sales associate, I want that dress. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels abrupt, demanding, like you expect them to just hand it over.
Exactly. It implies a certain level of entitlement, almost like you're stating a demand rather than engaging in a polite transaction. In a service context, using I want can sound demanding, impolite, or, as we mentioned, even childlike, as if you haven't quite grasped the subtle social expectations of a polite interaction with someone providing you a service.
Like ordering your parents around, maybe?
Something like that. The perception is immensely significant. Choosing I have, can I get, or I'd like makes a substantial difference in how you are perceived by the staff. It's like the fundamental difference between saying, give me a cookie, versus, may I please have a cookie. One is a direct imperative, a command. The other is a polite request that acknowledges the other person's role in fulfilling it. These more nuanced phrases signal that you understand and respect the social etiquette of dining, fostering a much more positive interaction. It shows you see the server as a person, not just a delivery mechanism.
That analogy of the boutique makes it crystal clear. It's not just about the words, it's about the implied social contract, the respect. So, beyond just picking my dish, what if I want to ask about the daily special or get a recommendation? I don't want to sound like I haven't looked at the menu.
Oh, excellent question, and it's a very common and welcomed interaction. Asking about specials or recommendations is a perfect opportunity to use these polite phrases and engage more dynamically with the server. It shows you're interested. To inquire about specials, you could simply ask, do you have any specials today? Or what are today's specials? Or maybe, are there any specials I should know about?
Okay, nice and direct.
If you're looking for a recommendation, you could say, what do you recommend? Which is very common. Or what's popular tonight? Or you could be more specific. I'm trying to decide between the fish and the chicken. Which one do you recommend? Or I'm looking for something light. What would you suggest?
Giving them some direction helps too.
It really does. It shows you've thought about your preferences, but are genuinely open to their expert guidance. Servers often know the menu best. And for a group order, maybe someone else at your table isn't quite ready when the server arrives. Instead of just sitting there awkwardly, you could say, I think I'm ready. I'll have the pasta, please. My friend just needs another minute or two.
Good way to keep things moving.
Or, we're ready to order, but he just needs a moment to decide on his main course. These little conversational flourishes demonstrate flexibility and consideration for both the server's time and your dining companions. It's all about smooth, respectful flow.
It sounds much more collaborative that way.
Exactly. It's a team effort to have a good meal experience. 3, navigating the menu. Asking smart questions.
So, you've chosen a dish, or maybe you narrowed it down, but the description isn't quite clear. Maybe it uses a fancy cooking term or an ingredient you don't recognize. Or perhaps you have a very real and important dietary concern, like an allergy or an intolerance.
Which is increasingly common.
Absolutely. It's incredibly important to remember that it is perfectly normal and indeed expected to ask questions. There's absolutely no need to feel embarrassed or shy or to pretend you understand something when you don't. In fact, asking polite, clear questions ensures you get exactly what you want and, more importantly, stay safe if you have allergies. I still remember a time I ordered what I thought was a simple chicken dish in another country, only to find it was smothered in a sauce I absolutely couldn't stand because I didn't ask what was in it.
Oh no, a classic case.
Exactly. A little question up front can save a lot of discomfort later.
Absolutely. Asking questions is a definitive sign of confidence and ensures a satisfactory dining experience for you. Moreover, it significantly helps the staff serve you better and more safely. Let's delve into specific phrases for clarifying menu items and addressing various dietary needs. First, for clarifying dish contents. If the name of a dish isn't immediately transparent, like Chef's Delight or something vague,
Right.
or you simply want more detail about its main components or preparation, you can use direct but polite queries. For example, what's in the chicken Alfredo? This invites a brief to-the-point description. Oh, it's fettuccine pasta with grilled chicken in a creamy Parmesan sauce.
Okay, nice and clear.
Or, if the dish name gives you absolutely no clues whatsoever, you can use a broader question like, can you tell me what's in this dish? Or, could you describe the dish name for me? This encourages the server to provide a more detailed explanation. You might hear them say, oh, it's a vibrant mix of seasonal roasted vegetables, peppers, zucchinis, eggplant tossed with quinoa, and a light lemon herb vinaigrette. Or, it's a traditional beef stew with carrots, potatoes, and onions, slow-cooked for hours in a rich gravy. These questions ensure you know exactly what you're ordering, preventing any unpleasant surprises.
That sounds much better than getting a sauce you hate.
Definitely. You can also ask about preparation. How is the salmon prepared? Is it grilled or baked? Or about the general style. Is this dish very rich? Or is it a heavy meal to gauge its density? Or what kind of sauce comes with the pasta?
Those are really useful for managing expectations.
Now, when it comes to dietary restrictions and preferences, clarity is paramount for your health and comfort. For instance, if you're concerned about spice levels, a simple, is this spicy? Or how spicy is the curry? Is absolutely vital.
Gotta know your limits.
You certainly don't want to be caught off guard by a dish that's far too hot for your palate. And if you have allergies, clear communication is not just polite, it's an absolute necessity for your safety. Phrases like, does this have nuts? I'm allergic. Or, I have a severe shellfish allergy. Does this dish contain any seafood or shellfish, even in the sauce, are crucial.
Emphasizing the allergy seems important.
It is. Stating your allergy directly, I'm allergic to peanuts, helps the server immediately understand the gravity of your question and allows them to provide accurate information or consult with the kitchen if needed. They might say, let me double check with the chef, but typically no nuts are used in that dish. Or, yes, that does contain shrimp, maybe you'd prefer the chicken.
Good that they might offer alternatives.
Yes, and don't hesitate to ask, do you have an allergen menu? As many restaurants now provide these detailed lists, which is incredibly helpful. For common dietary choices, is this dish vegetarian? Is standard. Similarly, is this vegan? Is critical if you avoid all animal products, including dairy and eggs. You might need to clarify, does the vegetable soup use chicken broth?
Good point. Hidden ingredients.
And for modifications, can you make this without cheese? Or could I get the dressing on the side? Or how you politely inquire about changes. Or perhaps, is it possible to substitute the potatoes for extra vegetables?
Okay, asking about substitutions too.
It's important to remember that not all modifications are possible, especially in busy kitchens or for dishes that are pre-prepared like stews or complex sauces. But it's always polite to ask, and the staff will appreciate your clear communication rather than a vague gesture or assumption. They'd rather know up front.
So it's better to ask clearly than to just hope for the best.
Absolutely. Asking these questions proactively benefits both you and the restaurant staff, leading to a much smoother, safer, and more enjoyable experience for everyone. It shows you're engaged and responsible about your needs.
I think sometimes people worry about being perceived as difficult when they ask questions about allergies or modifications, but what you're saying is it's actually a sign of being a thoughtful diner, and it really helps the staff do their job better.
Precisely. It builds trust and ensures satisfaction on both sides. A good server wants you to enjoy your meal safely. 4. Understanding the waiter's queries. Being prepared.
That's a fantastic point about asking questions. Now let's flip the script a little and prepare you for what the server might ask you. Anticipating these common questions can significantly reduce any anxiety and allow you to respond confidently and naturally.
Exactly. It's like having the answers ready.
It's like knowing the test questions before the exam. And honestly, it makes the interaction so much smoother for everyone involved. Less pausing, less confusion.
Exactly. And knowing these common questions in advance significantly reduces anxiety and allows for smoother, more natural conversation. Let's go through some of the most frequent ones and how you can respond effectively, almost like you're having a dance where you know the next step. Often, one of the first things a server will ask after you've been seated and have had a moment to settle in is about drinks. They might approach with, would you like something to drink? Or can I get you something to start with? Or maybe anything to drink besides water.
Pretty standard opening.
Very. Your answer could be concise. Yes, I'll have a water, please. Or just a sparkling water for me, thank you. Or maybe you want something else. Could I see the wine list? Or I'll have an iced tea, please.
Yeah.
If you're not ready or don't want anything right away, not right now, thank you, or I'm still deciding, thank you, or just water for now, please, is perfectly acceptable.
Okay, simple enough.
They might then ask clarifying questions about your drink order. If you order water, still or sparkling, is very common.
Still meaning regular, non-carbonated water.
Exactly. Or they might ask, with ice or lemon. Your response could be, still please, or sparkling with lemon, thank you, or yes, ice please. Clear and quick. Another very specific question you'll encounter, especially if you order certain meat dishes like steak, is about how you prefer it cooked. The server will ask, how would you like your steak cooked? This is where knowing the standard levels of doneness is absolutely key to getting the meal you desire.
This one seems important to get right.
It really is. Let's quickly run through the common terms. Rare. Seared outside, very red and cool center. For true meat lovers. Medium rare. Warm red center, pinkish throughout. This is probably the most popular choice for tenderness and flavor. Medium. Warm pink center, mostly cooked through, a bit firmer. Medium well. Slightly pink center, mostly gray-brown. Cooked quite a bit, well done. Cooked completely through, no pink or red. Firmest texture.
Okay, so medium rare is red-pink center, medium is pink center, medium well is just a hint of pink, well done is no pink.
That's a great summary. So if you like it mostly cooked but still juicy, medium rare, please, is a solid, classic choice. If you prefer no pink at all, then well done, please, is your answer. What's fascinating here is how these seemingly simple questions unlock so much confidence, as knowing the precise vocabulary for your preference is critical for a truly satisfactory meal.
Definitely worth learning those terms if you eat steak.
And don't be afraid to add a please here too. Medium rare, please. Politeness never hurts. Finally, servers often ask about side dishes, especially if your main course comes with options. Do you want fries or a salad with that? Is a common one you'll hear with sandwiches or burgers.
The classic choice.
Indeed. You have clear response options here. You can make a direct choice. I'll have the fries, please. Or the salad would be great, thank you. Or maybe they offer other things. Does that come with soup or salad? You might also be able to ask for something specific if it's available, even if not explicitly offered as the main choice. Can I get a side of roasted vegetables instead? Or could I substitute mashed potatoes for the fries?
So you can sometimes swap things out.
Often, yes. Though sometimes there might be an extra charge for a substitution, which they should tell you. It shows both clarity in your choice and a polite flexibility in asking for an alternative. Now, perhaps one of the most important series of questions are those where the server checks in during your meal. They'll come by after you've had a few bites and ask something like, how is everything tasting? Or, is everything all right with your meal? Or, checking in, how are we doing here?
Ah, the mid-meal check.
Exactly. These aren't just polite inquiries. They are genuine opportunities for you to provide feedback or raise any issues while they can still be fixed. If everything is perfect, a simple, everything's delicious, thank you, or it's great, thanks, or wonderful, thank you, is perfect.
Easy enough if it's good.
But what if something isn't quite right? Maybe your soup is cold, or you got the wrong side dish, or the steak is overcooked. This is where your preparedness truly shines. You don't want to suffer in silence.
Right, you want to address it politely.
Yes. You could politely say, excuse me, to get their attention, and then, actually, I think there might be a mistake with my order. I ordered the chicken, but this seems to be the fish. Or, I'm sorry, but this soup is a bit cold. Could it possibly be warmed up? Or, excuse me, I asked for my steak medium rare, but this seems to be well done.
Okay, direct but polite, focusing on the issue.
Precisely. The key is to be polite, clear, and specific about the issue, avoiding blame or sounding angry. Just state the fact. A good restaurant wants to fix problems. Anticipating these types of check-in questions empowers you to respond without hesitation, making the entire interaction flow more smoothly, even if there's a small problem. It's about being prepared, which translates directly into feeling calm and confident.
That's actually incredibly helpful. Knowing what to say when something isn't right is often what creates the most anxiety. It's good to know there's a polite and effective way to handle it without feeling confrontational or awkward.
Absolutely. It turns a potentially negative situation into a resolvable one. 5. Paying and leaving. The final polite steps.
All right. You've savored a delicious meal, perhaps enjoyed some delightful conversation. The plates have been cleared. Maybe you've declined dessert. And now it's time for the final, often crucial act of your dining experience, paying the bill and gracefully heading out.
Wrapping things up.
Just as with ordering, there are typical cues and phrases for this part of the process, and some very important cultural nuances to consider, especially around money.
Indeed. The waiter will often signal the end of the meal or inquire if you're ready for the check. They might approach your table as they clear the last plates and ask, "Would you like the check?"
Okay.
Or, "Anything else for you tonight?" Or, "Can I get you anything else?" Or sometimes more directly, "Are you ready for the bill?"
So those are the signals.
Those are your cues that it's appropriate to request the bill or confirm you're finished. Your response should be just as direct and polite. You can simply say, "Can I get the check, please?" Or, "Could we get the bill, please?"
Check or a bill.
Yeah.
Difference there.
Check is much more common in American English, while bill is standard in British English and many other Commonwealth countries. But honestly, both are widely understood pretty much everywhere. So either is fine,
Good to know.
or if you've already had everything you need and are ready to leave, when they ask anything else, you can say, "No, that's all, thank you. We're ready for the check whenever you are."
Okay.
Again, the please and thank you are absolutely crucial here. They gracefully wrap up the service interaction on a positive note, showing appreciation for the entire experience right up to the very end. Now, this leads us to an incredibly important cultural nuance, one that causes a lot of confusion. Tipping. If we connect this to the bigger picture, understanding these cultural norms is just as vital as understanding the language itself, especially for a smooth departure.
Ah, yes, the tipping minefield.
It really can feel like that. In countries like the US and Canada, there's a very strong and ingrained cultural custom of leaving a tip for your server, and often for bartenders and other service staff too. This is typically expected to be between 15 to 20% of your total bill before tax.
15 to 20%, that's quite specific.
It is, and it's generally considered the standard for good service. Some people tip more for excellent service, maybe 22% or even 25%. Tipping less than 15% usually implies you are unhappy with the service.
So it's not just optional.
In the US and Canada, it's generally not seen as optional in sit-down restaurants. It's often a significant, indeed fundamental, part of a server's income. Minimum wages for tipped employees in many parts of the U.S. can be considerably lower than the standard minimum wage, with the explicit legal expectation that tips will make up the difference to at least the standard minimum, and hopefully much more.
Wow, okay, so it's built into their compensation structure.
Exactly. So not leaving a tip, or leaving a very small one, like just rounding up a few cents, might be interpreted not just as dissatisfaction, but potentially as rude or unaware of the local custom.
That could be really awkward.
It could. However, and this is crucial, this custom is absolutely not universal. For instance, in countries like Japan, tipping is generally not common at all. In fact, trying to leave a tip can sometimes be considered impolite or confusing, as excellent service is simply part of the expected standard and included in the price.
Yeah.
They might even chase you down to return the money.
Really? Okay, big difference.
Huge difference. Similarly, in many European countries like France or Italy, a service charge, servizio or service comprise, is often already included in the bill by law. If it is, no additional tip is strictly necessary, though people might round up the bill amount or leave a small extra amount, maybe 5–10% in cash, for exceptional service. In places like Australia or New Zealand, tipping isn't expected either, as servers are paid a higher base wage.
So it really varies wildly.
It does. Therefore, it's incredibly important to do a little research on the local tipping customs before you travel to any new country. A quick search online for tipping etiquette in country will usually give you the information you need. This small bit of pre-trip knowledge ensures that your final interaction at the restaurant is as smooth and respectful as the rest of your dining experience. It's about respecting the local economy and social contract.
That's such a vital distinction. I can imagine how uncomfortable it would be to unintentionally offend someone by not knowing the local tipping etiquette, either by tipping too little or tipping when it's not expected.
Exactly. It avoids awkwardness on both sides.
So what about other common requests at the end of the meal, like getting leftovers packed up a doggy bag or splitting the bill with friends?
Excellent follow-up. These are indeed very common end-of-meal requests. For leftovers, especially in North America where portion sizes can be large, it's very normal. You can politely ask, "Could I get a to-go box for this, please?" Or, "Could you wrap this up for me?" Or, "Can I get this to go?"
Is doggy bags still used?
It is, and people will understand it, but it sounds a little dated perhaps. To-go box or takeout container, just asking them to wrap it up, is probably more common and slightly more neutral now.
Okay, to-go box. Got it.
When it comes to paying, especially when dining with friends or colleagues, splitting the bill is very frequent. You can ask the server, ideally before they run your card, "Can we get separate checks, please?" Or, "Could you split this bill for us?"
Is it better to ask earlier?
It can be helpful, especially if it's a large group, but asking when you request the check is usually fine too. If you want to be more specific, you can say, "We'd like to pay separately," or "Could we split it evenly 3 ways?" Or sometimes people might need to split items. "Could you put the appetizer and my main course on this card and her main course and the drinks on that card?"
That sounds complicated for the server.
It can be, but most point-of-sale systems are equipped to handle it. The staff are usually very accustomed to these requests, especially in places popular with groups. Just ask clearly and politely. And finally, as you're leaving, after you've paid, a simple verbal thank you to your server as you walk past is always appreciated. Or maybe, "Thank you for the meal," or "Everything was delicious, thank you for the great service." It's a wonderful way to express appreciation and leave a positive, lasting impression.
A nice final touch.
It's a small gesture that goes a long way in acknowledging their effort. 6.
Eee.
Beyond words, politeness and small talk.
That's such a crucial point about cultural differences with tipping, and it really extends beyond just money. Because in English-speaking cultures, particularly places like the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, dining out isn't just about the transaction of getting food, it's also profoundly about the manner in which you interact.
The social element.
Exactly. Being polite, friendly, and approachable truly makes a monumental difference in the quality of your dining experience and how you're perceived. It's about becoming a cultural insider, not just a customer ordering fuel.
Yes, absolutely. We touched on please and thank you earlier, but their profound impact cannot be overstated. These aren't just polite additions to your sentences. They are expected, indeed integral, to nearly every service interaction in English-speaking countries.
They're like the baseline almost.
They really are the essential social lubricants that make interactions smooth and pleasant. For example, when ordering, we said, "I'll have a latte, please." Sounds so much softer and more respectful than simply, "I'll have a latte." The please subtly transforms what could be perceived as a demand into a polite request that acknowledges the service being provided. And when receiving something, your food, a refill, the check saying "thanks so much," or "thank you," or "I really appreciate it," are warm and customary ways to genuinely show gratitude. These small phrases transform a purely transactional exchange into a pleasant human interaction for both you and the staff. It builds a mini relationship, however brief.
It makes it feel less robotic.
Definitely. Beyond these core courtesies, there's also the pervasive and often misunderstood practice of small talk, particularly prevalent in North American and British culture. Maybe a bit less so in some other English-speaking regions, but still common.
Ah, small talk. The weather, how's your day?
Exactly. Your waiter might approach your table not just for the order, but maybe while pouring water or checking in, and genuinely ask, "How's your day going?" Or, "Are you guys having a good evening?" Or after the meal, "Did you enjoy everything?" It's absolutely important to understand that these are generally not deep inquiries into your personal life or a demand for a detailed, critical review of your meal just yet, unless something was wrong.
Yeah.
They are conversational pleasantries.
Social niceties.
Precisely. They're designed to create a friendly, comfortable, and welcoming atmosphere. They are part of the social glue that makes the dining experience feel more enjoyable, less stiff, and more authentically human. It signals warmth and approachability from the server.
So how should you respond? You don't want to give your life story?
No, definitely not. You don't need to launch into a long, detailed story about your terrible commute or a comprehensive critique of the seasoning on the fish. Appropriate responses are generally brief, positive, if true, and sometimes reciprocal. For "How's your day going?" You could say, "It's going great, thanks." And yours? Or "Pretty good, thank you," or simply "Good, thanks."
Keep it light.
Keep it light. For "How's everything tasting tonight?" Or "Are you enjoying your meal?" Wait, assuming you are. "Everything's wonderful, thank you." Or "Yes, it's delicious, thanks." These responses are sufficient to acknowledge the small talk, reciprocate the friendly tone, and keep the interaction flowing smoothly. Engaging in this light conversation, even if it feels a little superficial or unnecessary compared to your own culture, integrates you much more naturally into the cultural context of many English-speaking dining environments.
It shows you're playing the game, so to speak.
In a way, yes. It shows you're approachable, friendly, and willing to participate in the social aspect of dining, not just the eating part. This willingness to engage in brief, friendly exchanges moves the interaction far beyond a purely transactional one. I order, you bring food, making the entire dining experience feel more natural and enjoyable for everyone involved. It's about building a small connection, however fleeting, with the person serving you, which genuinely enhances the entire dining atmosphere. It shows respect and a willingness to be part of the social environment, not just an observer.
That's a powerful insight. It's not just about getting what you want efficiently, but about the quality of the human connection, even a brief one during a meal. It really makes you feel less like a customer and more like a welcome guest.
Exactly. And that's often the goal of good hospitality. Outro.
Wow, what an incredible deep dive today. We've genuinely taken you on a comprehensive journey, haven't we? From the precise moment you step foot into a restaurant, that initial greeting,
Setting the stage.
through the intricate nuances of ordering food with confidence, ditching the "I want" for smoother options, understanding and responding to the waiter's questions like steak doneness.
The key vocabulary.
We're gracefully navigating dietary needs and special requests, mastering the final steps of paying the bill and that tricky tipping culture,
Definitely a big one.
and even touching on those absolutely crucial cultural aspects of politeness and the art of light small talk. You can clearly see how thorough and comprehensive this discussion has been.
We really tried to cover all the bases.
And the truly good news is, confidence in these situations absolutely comes with deliberate practice. You don't just magically get good at it.
Indeed. It's a skill like any other. Now, for your very next dining experience, whether it's a practice run in your mind tonight, or maybe a confident conversation with a server in your local cafe tomorrow, or a real outing soon in an English-speaking country, I want you to truly consider how these practical phrases and profound cultural insights empower you. It's not just about ordering food correctly, it's about confidently connecting, participating, and truly belonging in a common, vital social ritual.
Yeah, feeling part of it.
So here's a provocative question for you to mull over as we gracefully conclude today. What aspect of dining out in English, now that you're armed with these specific phrases and a deeper cultural understanding, are you most excited to try out or practice this very week? Perhaps it's confidently asking for a modification without feeling awkward. Or maybe nailing the steak doneness vocabulary. Or initiating or responding smoothly to a bit of genuine small talk with your server.
Ooh, good question.
Imagine yourself in that situation, feeling fully prepared, completely at ease, and genuinely confident. What's the first step you'll take?
That's a fantastic challenge, and I can already imagine myself confidently asking for that sauce on the side next time.
Keep practicing, keep talking, and enjoy applying these powerful new skills to make every dining experience truly enjoyable. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into making life easier and more interesting.
Until then, take care.